We are back in the Victorian High Country. Things went a little downhill after yesterday's beautiful afternoon and evening. This wind came in about 2:33 and it's absolutely blowing up here. Clouds all around us. It's still pretty cool, but seeing all these clouds move around you, feels like it even snowed. It's so cold, and those clouds out there nearly look like snow clouds. But yeah, climbing up on these mountains, the weather can change very quickly. It's very windy up here. Reminds me of last trip when we camped up on top of Blue Rag. We had the same thing happen, just massive storm and winds. Same thing happened here. I had to pack my awning away about 2:30 in the morning, got blown apart. Same thing happened on Blue Rag. After packing up camp, we headed back down off the mountain to continue along the Twins track. Even though the weather wasn't that great today, the views were still just absolutely spectacular. All you could see around you was mountain ranges in every direction. These drives along the ridge line are just so awesome. After we came off the Twins track, we took a left onto the Twins Jeep track. And that had a couple of really steep hills in it. It was a great fun drive through that track. It was only short, but it just took you up over a peak and then back down the other side. First gear low range on these really steep rocky hills, and just try and hold that throttle nice and steady, and that'll reduce your wheel spin. Neither of us had ever been in this area before. We're just doing a bit of exploring, not too sure what to expect, taking it as it comes. Definitely not all the time, but they do keep many of these high country tracks in reasonable conditions. They do look after them and grade them from time to time.
Definitely a bit of a lesser used area out here. We never saw anyone driving through all these tracks. Some of them were a bit overgrown and you could see they didn't get a heap of use. As the morning moved on, the wind dropped off, those clouds moved away and the weather became beautiful again. Our plan was to navigate through all these tracks down into the valley, onto the Buffalo River and have some lunch there. We eventually hit a bit of a main road down in the valley here. We pretty much spent the morning coming from where we camped in Mount Murray through various tracks all the way down to the valley. It's taken us a few hours. We just came down east-west Buffalo Divide track. All the tracks we've done have been pretty easy. You know, some good steep up and down hills, but nothing hard, just good countryside. That one was a pretty long way down, could have sort of brought you all the way off the range. It's pretty steep down, it was all in reasonable good condition. That's where we camped last night, up on that Mount Murray, off that Twins track. Then we came down here, did that Twins Jeep track. That had a good couple of steep hills in it. We came and then we sort of followed this Mount STIRLIng tracks. Followed this one, onto this one, all the way through to here. And then we were going to do that penny track, but there was a sign there saying there's a massive log across it. So we took this east-west divide track, we just hit here. We're going to head up along this river here, find somewhere to stop, have a bit of lunch and that. We eventually made it down to the river where we had some lunch and cooled off.
What are you doing?
Swimming? What are you doing?
Getting out.
I dare to come closer.
No! Don't! I can do it to you.
Okay.
Well, since you do it to me, I can do it back. Dad, no! Not smashing me back. You do it to me first.
Splashback time.
No!
As we came down off all those mountains, we've sort of been making our way through the valley here along the river. Had a swim and some lunch back in the river there. It was good. We hadn't had a swim in a couple of days, so it was good to cool down. Came through the valley. Now we're going to make our way up the Cobbler Lake track, which is a start. I don't know, we're going to take various tracks all the way up there through to Mount Buller. Not a bad little campsite here, just on the creek. So we're heading up. Still making our way up this Lake Cobbler track, just waiting for Dad to catch up because there was a turn off there so it doesn't go the wrong way. Nothing really exciting. You know, it's just kind of up and down, fair bit of uphill. We're slowly climbing up into the mountains, mostly in first high. Nothing too exciting to film, but we're starting to get some good views out over the mountains around here. Track's fairly rough and slow, but it's mainly just to get us up to where we need to go, heading up towards that Lake Cobbler. As I said, the first half of the track there wasn't anything too exciting or challenging, but that second half things definitely did start to get more interesting. The track became a lot steeper, rocky and loose. There were some good low range climbs where you had to pick your line. You can really notice a massive difference in temperature in the high country between being up the top of the mountains and being down the bottom of the valleys. The weather in these mountain ranges can be unpredictable. You can get snow in the middle of summer or you can get 45-degree days. But even on just your general warm sunny days like this one, you really do notice the difference in temperature compared to when you're up the top of the mountains and then you come all the way down the bottom into the valleys. Just so much hotter down in the valleys, which is good. Often down the bottom of the valleys you got rivers, perfect for swimming, and then you can head back up the mountain range to escape that heat. That was a pretty decent hill climb then, coming up here, and then you got a good look out along the track. You can see all out around you. This is my third trip to the high country, and pretty much every place and track we did on this trip I'd never been to before. That's the thing with the high country, you can just spend years and years there and go new places, new tracks every time. It's such a big area. That Lake Cobbler track ended up being a pretty good drive, like lots of steep hills up and down, pretty rock and roughy, some good low range climbs in there. Seem to have hit the main road here, and then we're going to head out towards Cobbler Lake for a look. This is a Lake Cobbler hut. We made it down to the lake. It's a fair drive. We got the lake just out behind us there, and now we're having a look at the hut. Made for 4x4 drivers at any time and anybody else for security, day or overnight use. Please keep clean and tidy. We're just going to camp here at the lake tonight. It's not a bad spot. The campground isn't amazing. It's kind of dirt and rocky, but there's a few spots along the edge of the lake here. Camp here. I've already had a big day of driving. Then tomorrow we're going to head further up towards Mount Buller, up to Craig's hut, that area. Cobbler Lake Campground ended up being a magical spot. Up there in the mountains next to the lake, super peaceful. It was actually so nice at this lake last night where we camped. It's just super peaceful here. Got the lake around you, got a few little creeks around here. It's just amazing out here. A couple other groups, so we had a spot to ourselves. They were out swimming in the lake there till dark. You can go swimming right out through that lake. We've seen a fair few flies this trip, but not really any mozzies, so that doesn't really matter. Not far from camp, you can walk down the creek to a big waterfall. We're going to go check that out. Made it to the waterfall. There it is. Look, just there.
Wow! My God!
So good, hey?
That's the best waterfall I've ever been to in my entire life.
There's a couple of little waterfalls here, a little one there, and one that goes down off the edge there. But I think it drops off the cliff just out over there. I'll send the drone out for a look. You can see all the little waterfalls dropping off the mountain there on the drone, all those little pools, looks good. And then the massive one, I don't actually know how you get there. I assume you can walk out through the bush there somewhere, but you can walk up to the top of it. You got that massive waterfall just around the other side of the cliff there. It's a huge drop off. After leaving Cobbler Lake, we headed further up the mountains via Cobbler Lake track. Our plan for the day was to head up towards Craig's Hut. There wasn't anything too challenging on this track, but like a lot of the high country tracks, very slow, rocky and rough. You spend a lot of your time on these tracks in either first, second or third gear low range. This is the section of the track that they call the staircase. It's marked on the HEMA map as you need low range and high clearance to navigate it. It wasn't anything to worry about in its current condition, just very rocky and rough. Nice and slow, take your time. At the end of the track, we came to the King River Hut, which was built by George Robinson in 1957 for Fred Ross and his family of Brooklyn, who were cattlemen in that era. King River Hut, it's actually pretty nice in here. Oh, it's obviously all been redone recently. That's where we came last night at Lake Cobbler, and then we just did this Cobbler Lake track through the staircase and then turned right onto this King Basin road, and we stopped here at this King River Hut. Very slow through all that, took us about an hour and a half to get from there to there. It's a great little spot here at this King's Hut. You got a nice big open paddock camping area behind you, got some fresh tables here, got the hut. Got a beautiful little creek just down there. It's a nice spot. Gonna have some lunch here.
Call this the King River.
After some lunch, a relax and a swim, we continued along the tracks towards Craig's Hut. King Basin Road was an awesome drive. We hadn't done too many creek crossings this high country trip. It was good to do a track that had a heap in it. Beautiful scenery, crystal clear swimming spots and creek crossings, and plenty of great camp spots along the river too. We are just leaving the Alpine National Park. And we're entering the Mansfield State Forest. This is a really good little track, this one, this King's River track, King's Basin track, something like that. It's a really good little track, just heaps of little creek crossings as you follow this river, it's beautiful. After coming off King Basin Road, we took a couple of other tracks before we hit the Clear Hill track, which takes you right up to Craig's Hut. Once you get up to this area around Craig's Hut, that's when you really start to see lots of cars, lots of people, and things get busy. It's a super popular spot and definitely the most people we saw out on the tracks in our high country trip. The Clear Hills track is a nice easy drive in its current condition. I'm guessing they keep it reasonably maintained due to how much traffic it gets. We even passed a few all-wheel drives on the track. It's only a couple of k's along the track before you arrive at the spectacular Craig's Hut. The views from there are incredible. Made it up to Craig's Hut. There's actually no one here at the moment, which is cool. There was a couple of groups just as we got here and they left, then we passed a few people on the road out. You're right on top of the mountain here, there's the hut, we'll go check it out, it's a cool spot. Craig's Hut building was originally built as a temporary replica cattleman's hut, created for the film The Man from Snow River. This popular hiking and four-wheel drive landmark has been rebuilt 2 times since. The first time due to neglect and the second time due to bushfires. The hut is situated on a clearing on Clear Hills overlooking the magnificent panorama of Mount Cobbler and the Alpine Ranges east of Mount Stirling. This area is often under snow cover for up to 3 to 4 months of the year, accessible only by helicopter or skiers or snowshoe walkers. What do you think of Craig's Hut, Kai? It's definitely the best hut we've seen in the high country, just up on top of the mountain here, amazing views. It's a pretty cool hut as well. After Craig's Hut, you can go back down the way you came or you can continue up Clear Hills track, which is a bit of a four-wheel drive track. We've come up along here a bit and there's a split here, the Monument track. And then you can head up the top to the mountain. Now Dad's going home, he's got to head home, so it's just kind of nice for the next couple of nights of the high country trip. We're going to head for a drive up the top of the mountain and see what's up there. We've got to do a car reshuffle. I'm going to get those fuel cans off my roof, put them in the car, so I'm full with fuel, give them to Dad, get my other swag off him, change around a few things, because after we've got 2 more nights out here, then we're heading straight to Melbourne, and Kayla's flying down, and then we're doing the Great Ocean Road, so I need to change around my setup a bit for that. The Monument tree. So you'll come up here, I think, and then drop down onto that main road. That road we came off before. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.